And we are live again, and it's actually working this time. And thanks for the follow, Ninja. Is it Ninjas? Hang on, I'm butchering it. Oh, Ninjas DITV. Hey, thanks for the Prime sub. Welcome, welcome. He's back for more pain. I know. I'm always back for more pain. Ninja, are you the same Ninja from earlier in the Redob Discord? Oh, awesome. That's awesome, dude. So today we're, I'm going to turn down music a little bit. Let me turn down music. I don't know how loud it is for you guys. Let me just see. It seems to be kind of balanced. Excellent. Anyway, this is, hey, Atrium. This is like, you know, week 2 of still working on the inventory system because of work. But anyway, a week and a half left, and it's over. So I will survive. So anyway, there's a few things that I wanted to do. I'd love, so we have a raycast, right? And the raycast is on the headbone, and it's like player raycast. It's a part of the player system. It is used in multiplayer. It's used in multiplayer for us to, you know, create like an IK point reference. So like we want every player, like every version of the player to have, you know, this raycast system, you know, because it's good for like, you know, like it's good synchronized data to have when I want to see, you know, what that player is looking at and what they're interacting with. Like their client side version of themselves is triggering things, you know, for me. That helps me determine, like, you know, what it is that they're doing. But from a, you know, gameplay perspective, this raycast is extremely inaccurate versus just firing it straight from the camera. Right, but there is only one camera. There's always only one camera. It makes no sense to have more than one camera. You know, so how do I have both? You know, how can we increase our accuracy and use our, you know, camera raycast on the client side for doing all the actual interactions, while still having a player raycast that's used for IK purposes, for aligning to IK and to aligning to, you know, specifically where that raycast ends. But we won't use it necessarily for any form of, you know, aiming or whatever. So I want to refactor it. Kind of make the player interaction system use the camera's raycast for pretty much everything, because it'll make the system a little bit easier. You need to go. Thanks for popping by. But you're doing good. Thanks. Yep. Yeah, it's good to see you. But yeah, so that's kind of like, you know, the idea. And the other thing I don't like was when I prototyped the UI system for let's plug that up. You know, it was meant to be kind of independent, and you know, on its own. And the idea was to be tied into. How'd you get the pistol to shoot? I just have a shoot function on it, which spawns a bullet, and you know, shoots it. I also have a light on the projectile. But anyway, we want, I want to change the way that we're doing this backpack inventory system and move it onto the player equipment system. So the player equipment system will have like a, you know, a list of everything that's within itself. It won't necessarily control the position. Like I'll still kind of control where it is with the UI, you know, with the buttons, you know, but like I want the UI to be backed by the real data that's in the player's actual inventory system, and kind of change things so We have kind of a delegate on the player equipment for updating or on update of the equipment system. And then we have the UI kind of subscribing to that. So whenever whenever anything in the equipment system changes, like we slot something out, we slot something in, only then do we, cause the UI to do an update, to refresh itself, to add an item, to do whatever, right? It needs to, do nothing until instructed otherwise. And we need to ultimately make the drop functionality work. So when we drop something on the ground, we want it to spawn in, at our feet. All right, so those are all like things I need to kind of get working this week, right? Because these all had to be like, in, multiplayer. Yeah, so like that's just that's kind of like the focus of the week. Just kind of slowly kind of going through and getting this interactable system working and. Mm. Yeah, we'll just use E. What starts just use F for everything? Yeah, because technically Q and E are going to be lean. And that's the other reason why I also want to have the camera is I want to have a better free mouse mode for interacting with things other than just the looking. Yeah, maybe it should be tap F and a hold F will be like free mouse mode. Because I think I like that. Like a hold F, but only while held. And then a tap would be the true interact. Yeah, and I think I want to change it. Let's do like, yeah, we could probably. Yeah, so let's make our interactor select any of these selectable items and then keep them in this native array. That way, instead of worrying about the swapping of which item, because when we're array casting, here's the issue, right? We're checking the validity of the object we're kind of like, you know, interacting with. And whenever that changes and we're no longer like, you know, interacting with it at all, we're taking that last selected item, we're running the deselect on it, and then we're clearing it, which is fine. But the issue is if you run into a situation where we, I don't know, we buy a whole bunch of laser rifles, and we're just gonna like, you know, spread them out a little bit here. You can see like if I hover over one of them, it deselects it. But if I move too quickly over them all, they're like, you know, kind of stuck in a selected state. And if I kind of go over them all, they'll kind of deselect. So in reality, I want to kind of keep a list of all selectables that are within the area 3D of the player. Kind of like as I enter them, these selectables will register. So then we have a native list, a native list of things that are within range. And then when we go interact with something, and we kind of like, whenever we no longer have a raycast target, or we no longer have a raycast target that's the previous raycast target, then we can actually just iterate through that list and run a deselect on it, just to make sure that it kind of cleans up all of the client representations of these selectable game objects. And that'll make it a little bit less code smelly, because the responsibility of selecting and deselecting it should probably be moved away from the raycast target. And then we can also then do interaction by proximity. Instead of relying on it, like we could just, whatever the closest, you know, interactable is to us within the list of detected interactables, right? The interact recommendation by default will always be the closest unless we're raycasting and directly looking at it. That way, like if we're running by an elevator door, we're not quite looking at it, and we want to kind of, you know, force that interaction towards it. Then it can just happen kind of naturally, right, as a default option, you know, of the interact. Right, and I think that would be a little bit easier on the system. A little bit more memory, like we're keeping more state on the player for like how many interactables there are around them, but yeah, I think my chats are totally messed up. I'm pretty sure the YouTube chat is not working. I gotta update. It's stupid. That's one thing I don't like about Chatterino so far, or the program using Social Stream, is that it's it lags out a lot. I can never tell if it's coming through. No, it is. Okay, good. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's going to be the... So we are dealing with any selectable items, which are unselectable. But not interactable. Well, I wonder why... Yeah, like what implements interactable? Door trigger... Right, these are all selectable bodies. They're also interactable. is a selectable item. Yeah, what's the real difference between our item interactable? Oh, one's a body. Yeah, okay. One is a body. One is a static body. The other one is literally an item, a selectable item. Which has our ID. Yeah, so I guess we will use selectable item references, but I think we'll do it by the interface and not by the item. Yeah, so we will use our iSelectable interface for it. Oh, but they're not compatible with native arrays because they're interfaces. We don't really. Oh, they just can't be exported. Hang on. That's fine. No, it must be a variant compatible. And maybe we'll use our selectable items. It's going to be every edge case. What else is iSelectable? They're just a shared interface. Yeah, no, I do want to. We'll do a list. Yeah, that's all bodies as nodes, but whether they're selectable or not. We'll just make sure that it's actually working. Let's see. What did that get removed? Alright, it's the volume we want. Thank you for the follow. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher that name. Shahid, Mafakir. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. How's it going, Shahid? That's the correct pronunciation. What's the FPS station? FPS thing. Station testing. Oh. FPS zone testing. Network. Yeah, I don't think it's station FPS testing. Zone testing, target testing. Maybe it is. Nope. I had to confirm. Yeah, it's literally just called FPS testing. So why? Yeah, it's literally. Right, here's our selectables. This is our rigid body, but I want to... Yeah, the player interactor. Yeah, we want to take this selectable list, add it to our watch. Now we have our watch. Now we'll hit play. Stop breaking. Like, stop auto writing it there. Iterating over all items and same. Okay. Alright, so that's working. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Hey, how's it going, Sol? If I wanted to check it, maybe. Oh, no, I got this one. I'm doing good. Working on the inventory system. Yeah, so this will deselect anything. Go back in the Godot. Yeah, hoping to get this inventory system done in the next week or two. Ah. we'll just see if this makes it a little bit more easier to kind of be deselecting the things that are around us. So the ones that spawned in after the fact are not registering for some reason. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. It's on the raycast. If it is a selectable, let's clear other selectables first. So it's only happening while we're colliding with one. It's not registering them. Hello from a sleepy Surrey to Well Pixel. I just want to see if we're actually getting registrations of new interactives. Maybe 2. Okay, trying edit item. So we have rifle low pilot item. So there's 2 in the list now. Yeah, these are very quick to deselect. And they're working. Let's buy. Alright, so it's yeah, I'm curious. Alright, so it should be 2, 2, 2, 2. It's all good. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's still only 2. But it's not picking up the new ones. And the colliders are... Yeah, there's only ever 2 registered. Player must not be able to interact with them. Let's take a look and see what the collision... So when I spawn these in, these are on 16, which is 3D triggers. And 1 and 3. And is a part of ship components for the time being. So that's the default, and we are registering them by default. And I think by default as well, the collision shape isn't disabled. So I mean, they're working as a rigid body. And they're not sleeping. And they're definitely masking to 16. And we know we're interacting with them. So it's a matter of the player's interactor. Is currently only listening for 1. Oh, okay. So it's only registering things on 1, not registering ship components. Because it wasn't something that we were intending on storing state of. Although that's weird, because we are actually looking for ship components in areas. Items and yeah. So we must be setting. We must be setting that interactable. Nope, not already. Weird. I wonder why. Interactor is just 1 and 1. What is it for the network player? One on one as well. Weird. So the old snap points must be on 1. Which they are. Weird, I wonder why I put them on just 1. Probably because they're areas. Alright, now let's see if we maintain a bigger list of selectable items. Yeah, so we have all 6 that are around us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 handguns. Yeah, they're immediately registered. So there's 8 selectables around us. And triggering the deselect. is working as intended. Right, so that's just, you know, much cleaner way of handling that. We might need to do an instance as valid though on the deselect, but we'll see. It depends on how this kind of goes. Yeah, it's working. All right, so that'll make things a little bit easier for handling things that are around us, and also having that like internal state of things that are selectable, and being able to determine which one is the closest. And this will be always from our player's perspective, so we don't need to give it a reference. Mm-hmm. Do I want to? Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so that goes our closest selectable item. And then on our interact, yeah, so this is our interact is called. But we want this to no longer be a toggle. Are we doing this on input event? We are. Okay, good. Yeah, so let's change this to released. And it should be the same. Because I want to get rid of the toggle. We want to change it to a hold. So if holding F, right now is a toggle, so we can move into mouse mode and select things. But I want to make it so if we, when we're letting it go, we're calling it. We're holding it. While we're holding it, we free the mouse. And the second we let it go again, the mouse will get absorbed. And it'll get locked. So let's do... Yeah, and this won't be a toggle anymore. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Like having the hold F, and then if you just tap it, it'll just be the default interaction. I wonder what the cost will be of validating the object, or if just running. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so let's see, what's next? Yeah, I think I like the hold. I don't know how that's going to work with... Yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter because for keyboard. For controller, you're going to be holding the key. Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. And you get a kind of a free mouse mode. Okay, cool. So now we need to actually interact with the thing that we're looking at. And not just, you know, run, interact. So player interactor. Which has never really done anything in the past as far as actually doing the interactions. Yeah, so I don't think we even used the player interactor. Nope. There's our indicator. Okay, fine. Let's do explore, public, player interactor, get it set. And I guess we'll actually run our interact function. What I'm going to do if the distance is greater, what's the minimum distance? Greater than 1 meter away. Strictly, lots of SD roadmap updates. SMB would have all the features we talked about. So discount last year for the end of the year. Lol at this. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a while. I'm happy. You know, I'm happy for many reasons actually. I'm happy for one reason that the you know, we have concrete direction, concrete, like this is Star Citizen 1.0. Negative aspect of that, that's probably 2 years away on both parts, Squadron and Star Citizen 1.0. And even then, there's still the question of, is the game going to be fun at that level with content available to us? Being, you know, I don't know. It says GD print, whatever that item is, whatever the closest item, if there is one, that we can interact with, or as our selectable items. And then let's go back to FPS testing. Oh yeah, right. And that was my thought with that, right? Is that means I have a whole year, right? I have a year to get all of the details, to get the smuggling working, to get the hacking working, to get the inventory system, you know, like fully functional. Oh, I love hold to interact actually. Hold to interact is great. Yeah, I just need to turn off the cursor while we're in interact mode. You are working so freaking efficiently and consistent. Not the last few weeks though, dude. Not the last few weeks. With work. Stringly, I finally left my job after 18 years. I'm finally going into actual, you know, engineering. Doing AI stuff, and yeah, this is what I've been working on. I want a really stable interaction system. I want to actually have item slots that actually work. Oh yeah, but we do want to actually toggle it when we're bringing up the inventory. Yep, and then like kind of socketing things back in place. He's also a new kitten dad. Oh yeah, we have the new kitten. Yeah, I've been doing both. I've been really trying to get this inventory system down, and I've been trying to work on art. My hope with the new year coming, like with this new job, I'll be able to hire an artist. I've been actually working with a new artist in the Blender Discord over the last couple days, and they're fantastic. They're a Second Life developer from way back in the day, and their art is so good. Like, I mean, like really, really like perfect Star Citizen 2012, right? Like that's what I'm looking for. Um, so I have a twice a year. Well, I have twice a year a very, very, very ripe depression phase, and I just went through one. Yeah, you were saying. So I went from like 0 lines of code for like 3 weeks to about 2K lines of code. That's awesome. Yeah, it's I scrolled myself. Oh yeah, yeah. But this artist is super excited. And they're professional. Like they made their business, like they made their money in Second Life selling assets. Right. So like they probably made, 20, 30 grand, working on assets, doing asset development. So they're not someone who's kind of like, I wouldn't call them a hobbyist, you know what I mean? But they're also trying to make a name for themselves as well. And they're trying to like, they're interested in the project and what can happen with it. So I'm going to jump out of this here real quick, just to kind of jump into the main project. It's probably been a while. As well, while I'm working on all these systems and making it work great in multiplayer and getting all the quantum working and all the gameplay loops, I'm also simultaneously working on the core visuals of the game, right? The actual like details. Get the backpack in the game now, which is great. I've been trying to create the art at the same time. But I want to do a Kickstarter. I want to try to, in the next 6 months, to do a full Kickstarter, but I want to have the game working before I Kickstarter. Kickstarter is scary though. Scary, but it depends on like I'm not gonna say go to it until I know it has a good campaign, Yeah, that's why it's got to be working. You know what I mean? I have to show the game working. There's not going to be an alternative. I'm not, I don't get that opportunity. Like I have to show, everything. I really wish I could know, like, when you bring the camera back, like we need to see everything actually work. Like that's super important. Like I can't. So every gameplay loop has to be showcased, or in the Kickstarter, in the actual Kickstarter, because it's still going to take a ton of time to get all the the content in. But yeah, shit's coming along. The got the male, female in. Because ideally, if I can get the Patreon up to a certain level, I think everything will be fine. But it's got to sell itself on its own. Like not just me saying, "Oh, I'm making a cool space game." Players need to see a cool space game. They need to see missions working. They need to see bounties working. They need to see the the system come together. Or it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, maybe even a gameplay video that you recorded. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a bit curated. I want to. My plan is to create what I call the optimal gameplay loop scenario. And the optimal gameplay loop scenario starts the player off waking up out of bed, going out, grabbing a drink, going to their ship, going through the process of a session. And I would like to record this all in Greybox, right? So I'd like to record this whole gameplay session in Greybox, give it to a sound designer who's going to do Foley, and be like, hey, we need Foley, but only Foley this video, right? All of it's going to go in the game. So like every footstep you hear and the pew, pew, pew and everything is going to be like, I'm going to get them to make it to put in the game, but I'm going to make only what is required, at least, you know, in this sprint, you know, for the trailer. So I'm kind of like checking off all the boxes for what sound effects are needed in what would be a demo. I mean, it's really, you know, it's easier for a sound designer to work with a video feed, right, than get them to kind of play through the game, right? Because they're not playing the game, you know, they're just sitting back making sounds, right? So that kind of, it works better for them on a workflow, right? So if I know, you know, and visually that goes the same way, right? If we record good gameplay footage, you know, of a play session, then that tells me like, well, what needs to be visually detailed? Like what do we need to actually showcase? You know, like what you know, what hallways, what panels, what kind of you know, and then that becomes a little bit of a focus, because really it's just to not necessarily just to sell the game as it is, but just to flesh out enough that players and even testers get a sense of what the game is going to be like, you know, to get a feel for it, like, you know, to kind of see the direction of the game, or to kind of, you know, like put enough of it together that it kind of, you know, makes sense. And I think that'll work, you know. I think it'll kind of like, whoa, this game could be kind of cool, and you know, maybe some of those members become Patreon members, and maybe kind of, you know, it goes from there. But yeah, it's like everything, right? It's everything has its risks. All of it might not work out. You know, the game might just end up being, you know, not that fun for people. I hope it is, you know, but I can kind of get that feedback pretty quickly. But that's my idea, right? That's kind of, and I'm going to be sacrificing a lot to kind of make it happen if I can, like, because once I'm making a bit more money, you know, these commissions, like, they're going to start happening. I agree. And I do a terrible job clipping shit. Like, I do an absolute terrible job showing off what I'm working on. There's like so many things I'll be working on. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I've been doing this asteroid system. And then I'm like, oh, I have no links to it. You know? I'm like, shit. You know? Okay, back to the inventory system. So what we want to do on the drop, if our global rectangle has point drop, we're doing the drop. Because it's like one thing to showcase a cool video with the amount of MMO scans on Kickstarters. Having some clips and videos, you know, through development, yeah, as proof that the game actually exists, does properly help. I absolutely agree. So this is our actual drop, right? So this can be dropped, but we're not going to be actually dropping it, and we are going to check. We're telling the player equipment to drop the slot. Oh, okay, right. So if the source is from the inventory itself, or the equipment's going to handle it, and if it's from the inventory itself, then we're just removing it from the grid. This was very sloppy, and really, this is going to be this is an item resource that we're sending to it. We could reference the resource. Well, we could just reference the ID. I'm gonna say drop from inventory. The item. And we're gonna create this. But because, yeah, let's just kind of give it an ID. And our location. We're gonna need to know from the player. Yeah, maybe we won't hold that equipment reference. Maybe we'll actually just hold player reference. Or we'll hold the interface for the player. When we set the player, we will go ahead and set it. And maybe we won't do anything. Maybe we'll just kind of... Yeah, we won't worry about that. Instead, we'll do player equipment. And we'll subscribe to it through the interface. And then for this instead, drop from inventory. Location won't matter, just the ID, because this will be an RPC. Yeah, so we're gonna RPC ID 0. It's gonna go to the server, or 1. Name of drop in inventory, giving it the item ID. And then this is going to be so any peer can call it. And because all this is going to be server authoritative, we're just going to say call. Okay. We also want the yeah, I don't really care about the inventory UI. Hey, celebrate! Oh no! How's it going, Sedlux? Welcome, welcome. I'm tired. Welcome to Revere is not extremely productive because work is trying to kill him. Stream. And we are fuck him up, Deflux says. We're working on the inventory system. Let me remove this parameter. We're dropping things from the inventory. And then we'll just send this to the authority directly. So anybody can say, hey, I would like to drop this, or anyone can send the RPC to the server, and then if we are the server, we'll go ahead and we'll spawn in the item and we'll do the thing. How's that new job? I am 1 week and a half away from starting it, and I've had to hire people. I've had to like literally, you know, 6 or 7 interviews, and then hire my successor, and train them, and do all the beginning of the year craziness and report cards and all the other things that I have to do to eventually get, you know. And then I never gave myself any time in between it either, so it's actually like I leave on a Friday and I start the new job on a Monday type deal. So so yeah, it's a lot of work. So this is the new interactable system I'm working on. And you know, we can spawn a whole bunch of crap. Right? And it you know, the idea is that we're kind of keeping a state of all the things that we can interact with. So we have this native array of things that are pretty much our area 3D, which is you know, our little area around us that we can't see right now. And as we enter and exit, you know, as these items, these rigid bodies enter and exit, you know, it registers itself. These are they're using our selectable interface. So anything that is selectable. So we can use selectable for anything, right? It just has a select method, a deselect method that it implements, and of course, you know, it just changes this override material, you know, kind of dynamically, and it just shows based on which one's close. Yes, no, it's the way, right? And you know, so what we want to do is make things that we can interact with very clean, right? So the idea is we have, you know, kind of our new inventory system. Oh no, what happened? Oh, things are not good. Why? Nope, not running 2 instances. What do we do? In set player, hang on a second. We should be setting our player delegate. So on updated equipment, we're doing our update equipment from the UI, so player should be doing its thing. Let's see. It's supposed to be spawning in based on our inventory. A bunch of default equipment and equipment slots. But it's definitely not adding our equipment slots. Something went awry. And we will figure it out. So they're all good. These are the default props. Move those over. Man, having just gotten through these problems, it's keen to see you crush it. I find a lot of stuff to be pretty good as far as architecture goes. Like I have, if we kind of look at how these things work, right? Everything is all resource-based, which would be like scriptable object-based. I have a prefab variant, which is like a in-scene version. The real version, which is kind of the prefab that actually spawns into the player's own hands, you know? And the reason why they're separate is that the in-world item doesn't need to have half of the features, or the LODs for that matter. They're all the same. They're just a thing in the world that has an ID on it. Because it doesn't need stats when it's being represented to you. When you, the player, see a gun, you have no idea what stats are on that gun or anything about it. It's just a gun. It's on the ground. It has an asset ID attached to it. You go up to it. You interact with it. Right? Oh, you know, this is the item. You know what I mean? I'm looting it. This is the item from the loot table that I need, you know, based on the lookup that I need to bring into my own inventory. And then as a part of the resource itself, we also have, like, you know, the texture that the system uses for visualizing it, the cell size, how does it look in the inventory? Like what's the cell size in the two-dimensional inventory? So the item resource ends up containing, like, what is the type, you know, what is the actual game object, you know, and then, you know, the uniqueness of the ID is in the item resource. You know, when the actual item itself, you know, is actually loaded up, it'll set that ID from the resource. The resource is the most important thing, right? And then, you know, we have our IK points. So, you know, I have dynamic IK, so artists can put IK nodes called IK targets, you know, wherever they want, and set values on them. Tetris inventory, yeah, pretty much Tetris inventory. The Tetris inventory is a representation of physical volume, and my game is more of a physical game, so you don't actually get equipment slots unless you have a backpack equipped, and then the backpack is the storage, right? And you're limited by, you know, the volume and the kind of, you know, dimensions of it. And the physicality represents kind of like the dimensions and weight kind of combined. It's not meant to be a super complex system. You know, because it's not focus of the game, you know, so, you know, you kind of like drag in whatever, you know, and then you're golden, right? So that's kind of how this whole thing plays out. So this is the advanced actual rifle, and we know it's the real asset because it has IK and everything. But then if we look at, as an example, you know, the rifle's prefab version, you can see this actually just inherits from a selectable item, right? A selectable item has the outline material, doesn't have any data on it. And in reality, when this is loaded in, the ID gets set because it still inherits, right? We still have a wonderful set of inheritance. This is still an selectable item, right? So it's still, you know, in reality, an item. It just, you know, there's an inherited item which is just the prop version of itself, right? It's the propification, right? Everything in the world is kind of a selectable item, you know, because the item itself inherits from a rigid body, which is the principal, you know, physical thing, you know. So there's a little bit of inheritance, but still a lot of composition. There's inheritance where there needs to be, right? You know, so we don't kind of, you know, we're not going crazy with it. It's not like Java where we're like 22 layers of like extended classes later. Yeah, so anyway, and there's still like, you know, there's still like, there's always things around like, yeah, you know, can we just use an interface for this? Like, do we really, you know? Those are always the questions. Like, you should always ask yourself, like, you know, can we get away with an interface? Like, how unique are these classes? How similar are these classes? You know, like, what's the what truly defines what this thing is, you know? But yeah, it's been crazy, dude. It's been nuts. Like, I'm excited to get this week done, and next week I think is going to be easier because I actually have the new guy. Well, yeah, and I think Sedlex, your issue, I'm going to be very kind of vague, is you're kind of like, I don't know, like I see you as like a young, super excited developer. You're definitely not 40, and you're kind of like, as you're discovering things yourself, and you're coming and you're finding these exciting new features, and you're finding out how to do things, you're wanting to use it. So you're inherently victim to your own scope because you're always within your own discoverability of new things, right? So you haven't set out to like I'm making tic-tac-toe, and then you're just fundamentally looking at tic-tac-toe and trying to make the best version of tic-tac-toe. You're just making a game. You know what I mean? And what game? Well, whatever you want it to be. You know what I mean? You don't have any limitations. So, you know, you'll keep doing this until you sit down and define this is the scope of the game, and the game can now only be this. Right? It can only be this. This is the end game. This is the objective of the game. And then when you've done that, then you can start breaking it up into all the pieces and then getting it done. But only when you do that. You know what I mean? Only when you kind of like, okay, this is my game. Because even if you do that and you're like, oh my god, I really want to add all these new features, add it to the next game. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, add it to version 2. Add it to something. Because at least you can get it out there, release it, and I don't know, like, you know. Like, what I'm trying to do is very over the top, but I do kind of understand the scope of it. Like, in my head, I have a scope, at least. I kind of, like, I see this game played out. And it's a bit convoluted, but it's no more than what it is in my head. Even though that, you know, it's all the features that was in an old mud way back in the day. But I don't know, because it's hard to avoid the feature creep, you know, and it's the feature creep that keeps you going. Following your description, pretty accurate of me. I basically need to focus on getting something out, not spending 4 more years on adding every. You need to focus on building the ultimate roadmap of your game, right? What defines the game, right? Like, build, because you need that roadmap anyway. Because remember, you haven't started art yet. And I know you've been doing art. I've seen your streams, but you haven't really, you know, looked at the art. You know what I mean? You haven't been like, code is done. Because, like, you have to get the code done before you can start moving on to the art, really. Because why not? You know what I mean? Like, the code's done, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, just get the code working and, like, cool, I don't need to be a programmer anymore. Programming, check. 20%, check, you know? As you're adding in art and you're kind of like making the game look good, you'll obviously there'll be issues you'll be fixing along the way, but like, you know, like, get a real, like, that wall of art is still there. You know what I mean? You're kind of, it's like you're making the frame of the car, and the car is almost working, and the engine's working, and you can drive the car, but now, you know, like, now you have to actually add the body to it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know I'm gonna be like tripping and falling on art that requires code. I get you 100%. But that's the yeah, Revere will offer sound work if you want. Oh my gosh. Oh. But yeah, it's important though, because you know what I mean? Like, how long was I subscribed? Was it 24? No. 26 months? I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I'm actually gonna go look it up. Let's go twitch.com, Sedlex. You guys should be following Sedlex. If you're not, give them a follow. Does it say manage your sub? Does it say? Give to me the information. Manager sub, Gooper sub. Fine, don't tell me. Be that way. Anyway, my point being is, I was working on this game when I subscribed to you. 28 months have gone by. 28 months of both of our projects have gone by, you know? And if you've been keeping track of your time, and let's assume that we have a value proposition of $20 an hour. How much has your game cost you so far? Like, how much sweat equity is truly in your game right now? Look it up, right? That's why you never have to worry about competition. You know what I mean? You never have to worry about competition because someone else wants to remake Unforgiven Space. You know, whether they hire someone or they put the sweat equity in themselves to make it. They're sitting on top of that pile, right? They're sitting on top of, you know, like 4,000 hours at, let's say you are worth like $20 an hour. You know, there's still like $80,000 worth of time gone into it, even at 4,000 hours. You know what I mean? If you don't value yourself, you're fine. It's still time. You're not getting those hours back. You know? You're not, you know, be aware. Be self-aware of the value proposition of what you add to your own project. Because you need the roadmap. The roadmap will, I don't know, it'll guide you. Oh yeah, right. So we need to figure out why, for some random reason, did the inventory slots completely fail. No, because the slots are there. Unearned, multi-tool, primary, terminal. So yeah, because we should be setting up the item slots. Yeah, the item slots are definitely being set up. We can confirm that just by, you know, starting it. And hey, is it Elaine? Rolena Roy? I'm doing great. I'm currently working on, well, I guess the second week of the inventory system, which sucks because I'd like to try to get a system done every week or two, and I kind of want to move on to other things. I really want to get the asteroid system in the game, and but anyway, it's close, but it's still. So the slots are definitely working. Yeah, actually, I really like hold to interact. Yeah, no, so it's not that. Are you interested to add some customized stuff to your channel? Am I interested to add customized stuff to your channel? It's not very clear. It depends on what you mean. I don't need an artist, if that's what you mean. I do need an artist for the game, but it's a different, it'd be a different skill set than making a channel art and emotes. Yeah, and we need to have this interaction system also hide itself whenever the raycast is failing. Yeah, so it must be the fact that when we start, we're not actually building up the inventory. Yeah, so this is supposed to be setting the player equipment. Logo, banner, overlay, emote. Nah, no thanks. I have an artist for that kind of stuff already. I need someone who's able to do like 2D banners and stuff like that for. Oh, okay, yeah, found it. Yep, so it'll be player equipment slots. Wait, so we don't really want to have. Let me see what else fails here. Yeah, really, we should. It should all depend on the player. It's true the player interface. You know, we can access to any of the inventory, whether it's another player. Yeah, so maybe we actually don't need that. We'll do it all through the player, based upon the player being set. But yeah, circling back, I love the idea behind the iSelectable setup. Are you not sitting on the same time constraints for your vertical slice? Yeah, it's hard. It's actually hard. I get like super emotional, and like it's really weird. Like how do I even explain it? Like I'm starting to see a lot of last times, like last time setting up the gym, last time doing report cards, last time like I don't know, like setting up a set of classroom laptops. Like you know, now that I'm at the very end, you know what I mean? And I can't explain it. Like I get a lot of social anxiety for no reason. It's like it's bothering me, but it's not mentally bothering me. And as the day goes by and it gets closer and closer, I can see my body just like, you know, kind of shaking and just kind of like it's like a subconscious anxiety that's just continuing to rise and get worse and worse and worse. Like all encompassing. And it's because of the change, you know what I mean? There's a huge amount of like, I'm very confident in my ability to do what I'm going to be doing, but there's still like, there's still like a change. Like there's still a lot of unknown, and I'm very, like, I like to always know, you know what I mean? Like to a certain degree. So it's like, and I think lately I've been coming to realize too, it's the schedule. Like I like working on my game, and I like streaming, and I like progress, and I like posting updates on good old, you know, Monolithic's Patreon. And because of all of this, I haven't been able to keep up. So I'm kind of like, I'm irritated. See, like I'm not going to go click on a name, but we've already lost one, right? Which is no big deal. Like there's no obligation to be subscribed, right? I use the metrics to know, you know, where player faith is and things, right? Because I know once things get going, you know, people want to, but you know, but that's the way it is, right? Like people like progress and like seeing what's happening, and things slow down, then you know, it is what it is. Things just kind of slow down. Um, it's an indicator for sure, exactly. Um, and that's my metric, right? Is, you know, if Patreon's a good, you know, the people that are kind of paying the support the game and are testing the game, those are the ones that are going to be like, is this fun? Is it not fun? Like, you know, are we moving at the right speed? And their money is a very good metric, you know, or their support is a good metric. But a lot of like, you know, like things also happen like every single day. But anyway, but that's not what, you know, like how much money I make on Patreon doesn't matter. It's just not having that consistency, right? Not having, I love having the momentum, right? Like getting things done, putting things out there, right? It's encouraging, right? Yeah, like I mean, yeah, on that feeling, you're essentially like hopping out of a whole like nest of unusual routines. Yeah, absolutely. I would be like concerned if you were not having some anxiety. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of, you know, yeah, it's a lot of change, but it was needed. I need this, you know, like it's not just the money. Um and the resources to work on the game. It's the experience, right? I can't. I can take this opportunity, and in 2 years from now, I know I'll have the experience required to run my studio, right? So, you know, I will have led teams. I will have, you know, created pretty expensive and stupid projects. I very much hope that this will catalyst you to get a position you want to be in. Yeah, yeah, I think so too. But it's just, yeah, it just has a mental cost. Even thinking about it just, you know, makes my anxiety bad. But like in reality, the time constraints are the same, right? The time constraints are the same. It's still like a, you know, like an 8-hour day, you know, whether I'm at school or I'm developing. The only difference is I don't have to, you know, drive anywhere, right? I can work from home. You know, everything's remote. I can transition faster, you know, into game dev. I can, you know, there's benefits, right, to this. But yeah, but still, you know. But I don't know. I just I'm excited, but also, you know, morbidly terrified. Because like, you know, the job description of what I'm doing is it's kind of intimidating. It's very like full stack, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you must have a PhD or like 10 years experience, and you know, I'm not even a real developer. I'm a basement developer. My goal, I'm excited. My goal for the summer, not for the summer, for my New Year's resolution is we're gonna master COBOL. And I'm also going to make my New Year's resolution to become a little bit more super familiar with C++. But I thought it'd be fun and it'd be a cool like side project thing is to build some type of transaction system in COBOL, or maybe even a game. Like, I don't know, maybe we'll make a text adventure. Oh my god, that sounds terrible. Given that, like, you know, text in itself is just, you know, arrays of characters and there's limitations. A mud in COBOL, yeah. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Let's do it. A mud in COBOL. You know what I mean? Is there anything, can we like, is there like a socket? Hang on. Socket programming for COBOL. Is there a library? Can we bind C library? If we can bind, if you're in IBM ZOS language, you just call external modules written in whatever language you want. So IBM mainframes have 2 socket APIs for COBOL, one which is 6. But that'd be fun as hell. I ran a BBS and wrote door games. Oh, that's awesome, dude. But a mud and COBOL will be hilariously done. Like, will be fun as hell. Oh, hang on a second. What are they doing? Oh, so we can make calls. In server, let's see. Using WoW Pure Pippa, or using ARPA IPNet. I don't know what they're using. So they're doing the server. Yeah, I don't know. Despite that policy function using start server. Using COBOL, C, Python, UCB. Yeah, maybe we could do all like the server logic in COBOL. They had branch knowledge these days. Do you want COBOL on modern systems or COBOL on mainframes? I don't know. Unforgiven Dungeons. My thought process was I want to learn it in the event that I can go from taxation to finance in the in game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm totally okay dying babysitting legacy applications in some financial institution. You know, like it'd be kind of cool, but I don't see anything overly challenging about the specific, you know, language of COBOL, other than how verbose it is. But I don't know. I just want to pick something. You know, maybe I can run like a CM2 emulator or something, like a thinking machines or something. I don't know. It's something like over the summer I want to play with. You know, it's just a year goal thing. Like become just familiar with COBOL and continue a little bit of C++ as a side project, like, you know, away from gaming, just as like something to something else to learn. Yeah. Okay. So I like that. So the UI will only grab a player interface and bind everything to to inventory. Um, Verbosity drove me nuts about getting a compiler to build like an 8086 program natively on my 386 back. But it was pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, I miss those old days. I actually messaged a colleague of mine when I took over the school. I was trying to figure out what version of Slackware we were using. Like I switched over to Slackware from the Windows 98 machine, and I feel like it was Slackware 7.1, but I don't remember. And I remember by the time I got my job, I think the servers at the school were running Slackware 10.1. And but I don't know for sure. And it was, I don't know, it was cool. And back then I had Slack builds for everything. Everything was like fully optimized, compiled from source. You know, postfix was running from mail. I don't remember. Everything was all custom IP tables and just, you know, it was cool. It only ran what it needed back then. Ugh. And drop handgun from inventory. I love those big pins. Yeah, this is one. Actually, no, this is Sarah's. I have one with my initials on it, and they're like super great. What's that? I only bring him the water though, because he often forgets. Yes. Okay, so what are we? What's our error here? Oh, the invalid parameterization. RPC ID name with drop inventory. With the item ID. That should be fine, unless that's a good. Nope. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the washroom. What's that, Swink? When we fall into the div, there's no such thing as water or bodily needs anymore. Oh, when you get to the zone. The zone is a bad place. It's like a wonderful place, but simultaneously terrible. Yeah. Is the item ID? Yeah, that should be fine. So any peer, call local calls. So we should get that call to drop. What's the deal here? So we're saying the RPC ID has a long, a string name, and a variant. And the array of variants. What do you mean? That's native. Drop from inventory on yourself is not allowed by selected mode. What do you mean? Any peer should be able to call this. Yeah, any pair. Oh, hang on. Yeah, because we're just going to be the client. So our own authority doesn't matter yet. What's that? I'm forever watching him, and are we dude for it? Let me host a session. Okay. Dropping handgun from inventory. How is that an invalid parameter? Your ID is equal to the caller. And call local is true, returning the invalid parameter. Call local is not true. Just drop from inventory on yourself is not allowed by the selected node. Let me just see something. So whenever I'm sending anything, like text is a variant, string is a variant, I should be sending it. From any peer. Yeah, as long as they're variants, it should send. Yeah, I think call local is false by default. No. It's on the string name. Well, I went name of work. Drop from inventory. RPC ID 1. Names of drop from inventory. That's fine. Yeah, because it shouldn't matter. Should be able to send that. Drop from inventory. Item ID. I'm just gonna see that item ID is being set. Maybe it's not. That would make sense. Oh, is that pixel typing? So Alexa, have you seen my cat? Add a few. Yeah, network dropping. So this good. We should just be able to send that. So like, it's not like they're yeah, they're all valid. I just want to be kind of spawning these on the ground. The authority and stuff doesn't really matter right now. Well, I have a kitty cat. See, this is my new kitty cat. He's pretty cute. He's like, this is the kitten. He's like, what are you doing? Oh. Yeah, so what, yeah, because we're doing edge stuff. RPC on yourself is not allowed by selected node. Oh, because we're the right, because we're not. Yeah, okay. We're sending it to the server. We are the server. That won't work unless we run 2 instances and we do it from the second player. I am just getting tired. So if we're doing full server authority and we have a server going, we join with Revere. If Revere attempts to spawn some items and drop them, we'll get no error, and it'll actually send correctly. The issue is that it's working, but like I kind of want to be able to test it in a single player capacity. So we'll have to kind of right. So now we are authoritatively like, hey, I would like to be able to spawn this in on the server and actually, drop it into world space at my feet. So it is working. But so how will how can we kind of I guess we could just do an authority check. I just want to get things working from now. Yeah, so we'll say if our multiplayer authority in server doesn't under the hood get server literally just return whether it's login or not. All right, if the multiplayer peer is valid and is in server mode. Because we could just get unique ID of being one. Yeah, because I really just don't want to call it if we're in single player mode. You know what? Yeah, I'll just let the error happen. That's fine. So call the drop from player actually happened. Cool. I'm just gonna locally spawn it just to see if it works. Okay, we'll spawn. Alright, so we should be able to spawn the rifle. The rifle should be valid. Or is it just failing because of the network code failing? Not doing it. Oh, because we haven't dealt with it. No. Right, because I'm not going to be testing the networking right now. We'll just get it spawning in, and then we'll deal with it. Okay. Come on, rifle, rifle, rifle. Thanks. It spawned somewhere. It's there. Where did it put it? Unless it pushed it underneath me. Maybe we'll do. So basis C is a vector times 1 unit. We'll do like 1 foot in front of the player. 300 model still position. Yeah, that should be fine. Maybe a little bit up in the air. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Let's just try that real quick. Just put it like ahead of us and a little bit in the air. And see if it spawns. It spawned it. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm not. Yeah, too tired. And we'll make it unique names. The joys of being very tired. Mentally. Come on, give me a rifle. Boop. Dropping rifles from our inventory. What's that? Oh yeah. Right, but we do need a network spawn these. I think I might make like a custom network manager, which is technically created by the server node, but it's just a singleton interface to that node. And put a lot of the network spawn stuff on it. Like anything, like all of that would be fully authoritative calls anyway. And kind of like, I don't know, like just kind of clean things up a little bit. Yeah, it's good. Wait. Should be putting it like in front of me based on my basis. Not behind me. Yeah, it is. It's going this way. Let me drop another one. Right. Anyway, tomorrow we're gonna go get the actual interaction working. And all the interaction is going to do for now is despawn it from the world, authoritatively put it back in our inventory. And, you know, from a single player perspective, it at least satisfies the demands of, hey, can we have a player actually spawn but nothing? You know, and have them go and buy their own, you know, set of rifles and items. You know, like, can they just go and purchase the rifle, purchase the handgun, you know, actually loot it, have it on their body, and then focus on being able to save and load that inventory system. They kind of just in the same way ships work, right? Same as ship components, all the same thing. It's just a little bit more convoluted because it has more complexity, right? Like there's items and they have to spawn in and they have IK points, and it all, like every time the model of the player changes from male to female or vice versa, it has to kind of rebuild that inventory for that selected model. But for like the way character customization and stuff like that works, so like when the system is fully working, I can change out the model, we can switch gender, we can do a lot of things on the fly, and it should be great. So yep. Right now we've created the perfect deduplication system. We can just duplicate all the items, just spawn a whole bunch more in and just throw them out. Yeah, they're not really spawning in front of us though. I gotta figure out what's up with that. Anyway, I'm gonna go and we'll end it here on the socials. We're gonna find some of the raid. Thank you guys again for tuning in. If you guys are interested in this project, just remember that like what you're seeing, this is just gray box. You know, it is gonna be a cool space, kind of sandbox soap opera type game. It is fully funded by you guys. If you're interested, check out patreon.com/monolithic. Gain access to the test builds, and we're going to keep doing builds, keep testing it. Jump in the Discord, !Discord. In chat should give you access to it, and or links down below. I think they might be broken. But yeah, let's go find someone to raid.